So let's just start getting the body warmed up a little bit more before we start rolling. I'm obviously really cold still. I have like my fleece on. All right, so feet wider than shoulders. We'll do a little squat with some arm movements. So you're gonna bend your knees, drop your arms, and then inhale, stand tall, reach the arms up. Exhale, little bounce. Inhale, up tall. Let's go 3 more. 2 and 1. And then let's squat down. We're gonna hold our squat. Shift your weight into the ball of your left foot, lift your right toe, and then come back to center. So you're lifting one heel and the opposite toe. That makes sense. And you're just kind of shifting side to side, rolling through your feet. You can go slow, you can go fast. Warming our quads up a little more. Let's go 1 more each way. And then come back to center, stand on up. Let's walk our legs in. Inhale, bring both arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers like this so the palms face up. And then let's stretch up and over to the left side. And then inhale, center, and exhale, up and over right side. And then come back up to center. Let's lower our arms back down. Let's come back into this squat position, and we'll do some heel raises. So hips low, let's keep our hips still. You're just gonna lift your right heel, set it down, lift the left heel and down. Right heel, and then left heel. Right, left. Let's go 3 more each way. 2 more. 1 more. And then both heels up, both heels down. Both heels up, both heels down. Let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heels down. Oh, stand on up. Let's give legs a little shake out. Let's do just a little back lunge. So you're going to step back with your right foot, lunge into the left leg, then come back to center, and then you'll switch. Left foot back, come back to center. And just keep alternating like that. I slept in a little late this morning, so I'm still feeling kind of groggy, so my balance is like kind of waking up as well. Make sure you stand up fully when your feet are together, fully extending the hips. Let's just go 1 more each way. And last one. Let's do feet wide again, and then you'll bring your arms out into a T shape, and then you're gonna bend into your left leg, bring your arms up overhead, so you're taking a side bend to the left. Circle it forward around the spine, go over to the right side, and then stand up through center, and then we'll reverse it. So you're gonna bend right, circle to the front, circle left, and back up, and then go left, circle front, bending both knees, go right and up, right, center, left, and up. Let's just do 1 more each way like that. Center, right, and up, right, center, left, and up. I'm gonna take my coat off now, I'm warming up. Thank goodness, I was freezing all morning. All right, let's inhale, bring both arms up overhead, interlace your fingers the awkward way, and then stretch up and over, big stretch to your left side. Hi, Nigel. Inhale up to center, and exhale up and over to the right side. Let's come back up to center. Drop the arms down, and we'll do a little flexion and extension in the spine. So as you inhale, stand tall, lift your chest and open your arms. Exhale, bend your knees, round your spine, arms forward. Inhale, up tall, lift the chest. Exhale, round, arms forward. Stretching the front body as you inhale, and the back body as you exhale. Let's go 3 more. 2 and 1. All right, stand on up. I'm gonna grab my roller, and adjust my monitor. All right, let's start with the roller behind us, seated. I swear, as soon as I stopped moving, I got cold again. All right, so we'll do a little spinal release with our hips lifted on our back here. So lay on back, you wanna have the roller stay above your floating ribs, which are like the little ones that are very mobile if you're not sure which ones those are. And then we'll bring hands behind head, lift the hips up, and then just slide your spine up and down it. You can go all the way up to the top of your shoulder blades, just not right onto your neck. Ah. And you can, if your back is feeling really tight, like upright tight a little more, you can round your spine a little more, stretching the muscles out a little. Or if you're feeling a little too hunched over or rounded in your upper spine, you can let your spine just sort of melt over it, like a string of pearls would drape over like a pencil or a wooden dowel or something like that. Sometimes I like to do a little wiggle back and forth to kind of loosen up in between each vertebrae. And then we'll roll a little more onto one side and then just roll up and down there. So you're getting more shoulder blade, muscles between your shoulder blade, maybe a few little cracks in there. And it's a nice spot to get our upper chops. So you can go up again pretty high. And adjust your roller as needed, like I'm doing. And then let's check out the other side. Roll your weight over to the other side of your back and you'll roll up and down there. And again, you can get all the way up towards the top of the shoulder blade, or you can roll closer towards your spine. Oh, that can feel nice sometimes. And then let's just spend our last couple of breaths going through the center. Let's set hips down, sit on upright. Let's adjust our roller. Let's have it right around where our bra band hits, kind of right beneath your shoulder blades. And we'll do some curls here. So let's keep our hips down with feet hip joint distance apart and hands behind head. And as we inhale, we're going to arch our spine over the roller. Exhale, curl. Inhale, arch over. Exhale, curl. Just letting the hips stay weighted on the floor, using the abdominals to curl the front ribs down towards the hips. Let's go 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1 more. We'll do a little rotation in the curl. So you're just going to do like an oblique curl where you're rotating towards one hip. So as we exhale next, we're going to curl and twist slightly left, lower down through center, curl, twist slightly to the right, lower down through center, curl, twist left, back to center, curl, twist right, back to center, left, center, right, center. Let's do that twice more each way. You want to think of folding your opposite armpit towards your hip. Last one. Come back to center, lower down, and just take a little stretch over your roller, wherever it feels comfy. You can keep your hips down if it feels better to have it a little lower or higher and have your hips up, that's fine. And then we'll do a little spiraling curl. So we're basically just gonna make like a three-dimensional circle as we curl. So roller in the same spot. Let's start with your chest and spine arched over the roller. Let's start by bending to the left. You're gonna curl up through left, then make it to the center, then start to bend right as you lower, lower through center. Then left, curl up, find your center, right, lower down, find your center. Left, curl, center, right, lower, center. Let's go two more in this direction. And then we'll switch. So we'll bend right, curl right, center, left, lower and center, right, curl, center, left, lower center, right, center, left, center. We'll go two more. One more. Lower through center. And again, one more time, just take a little stretch. Again, you can arch over the roller. You can keep your hips lifted. So that feels a little better. All right, let's set hips down, lift our chest. Oh, come on up from there. I'm gonna have a quick little sip of liquid. Okay, let's do a little lat release. So we'll have the roller on our side or towards our side like that. It's gonna go on our lats, on our side like that. So you can lay on down, start like maybe a little above your bra band, just so it's not too like bony ribby. And if this is already like pretty intense, you can hang out with your hips here and just kind of squish your side and lengthen your side to roll back and forth like that. If you'd like a little more pressure sensation, you can set your top foot on the floor, either in front or behind you, and then lift your hips a little. I'm still pushing into the floor with this bottom foot too, to keep my hips lifted. You can do it that way too. I'm gonna keep my hips down today. I feel a better stretch when I do that because I'm moving from this side versus just keeping it stable and lifting my hips up. So, oof, that's my preference today. So you can think of lengthening your armpit away from the roller and then bringing it towards the roller. Oh, and you can also try like a tiny adjustment by turning your chest to the floor a little more or turning your chest to the sky a little more. And you'll notice like there might be one particular orientation where you're getting a little more sensation or it feels like it needs a little more attention. Oops. Sorry if it's making a lot of noise as I put it back in. Make sure you try to get all the way to where your armpit and your arm meet in the back. Oh. And then we're gonna take a little twist. So just pin down a spot that feels like it needs a little extra attention. And no matter what you're doing, what you were doing with your hips before, set your hips down. Then we're gonna rotate towards the floor, bringing our elbows towards each other. Oof, good stretch. And then rotate towards the ceiling and widen your elbows, stretch the chest. Then you twist towards the floor, bringing your elbows towards each other, stretching the lat, and then rotate towards the ceiling, open the elbows. Let's do it three more times. Rotate, squeeze the elbows towards each other, twist, widen your elbows. You've got two more. I keep losing this pod because of my earring, I think. Okay, one more. Ooh. And then hold it here. Let's move our roller underneath that kind of right here, that back, like I said, the back corner of your armpit or like where your armpit and your arm meet. Hold your head with your top hand and then bring your top arm or your bottom arm out. So it's slightly ahead of you, but it's out straight towards overhead. You're gonna lift it up there and then just do a little circle here. That feels nice, right? You could always try bringing it back a little more. You could also try turning your chest to the ceiling a little more to pin that spot down. Ooh, let's switch directions. That is intense. Oh, set that down. If you'd like to take a stretch here, you can just let your body drape over the roller. If you're anxious to get it out from under you, just do that. Sit upright, take a few breaths. All right, let's help ourselves up and we'll do the other side. I think that says Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine. Oh, nope, she left. Okay, we've got our roller midway under ribs. Oh, it's so much more intense on this side for me. Hands behind head. And again, you can do this guy, right? Lengthening it out, armpit away from roller, or you can set your foot down, lift the hips up, and roll back and forth like that. I might do a little hybrid today. This is feeling effective here. And if you're keeping your hips down, you want to think of lengthening your armpit away from the roller and then towards the roller. So you're contracting your top side waist to do that. There it goes again. These are fitting really well the other day, but I guess I need to change their little spongy things. Let's take a few more breaths here. Again, try to get up to that back corner of your armpit. If you can, you can also, again, try that slight twist of chest towards the floor. There we go. Or maybe slight twist of chest to the ceiling and just see what feels best. And then once you've found, or take a moment to find a spot that you want to pin down for the twist. Feels like it needs the most attention. And then we'll do that twist. So you're going to rotate towards the floor, bring your elbows close to each other, stretch the back body. And then inhale, rotate to the ceiling, open the elbows up. Exhale, twist to the floor, bring your elbows close in. Inhale, twist to the sky, stretch your elbows wide. Again, exhale, twist elbows in towards each other. Inhale, twist it open, elbows widen. Again, exhale, rotate, elbows narrow. Inhale, twist, elbows open. Let's do that one more time. All right, find that spot. Whew. Kind of back armpit corner. We're gonna pin that spot down, hand behind head, and you can try twisting back a little bit more. You wanna find that tight spot right in the back of your armpit. And then lift your top arm up or your bottom arm up and make a little circle here with the arm slightly overhead. I need a little more space for my arm. Oh. And then switch directions with that top arm. And then let's take a little rest or a stretch over the roller. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. You can let your body drape over it, or you can sit upright if this is a little too tender. All right, let's come on up before I take a nap. So let's take a stretch for those muscles that we just rolled out. So we'll do mermaid stretch. So you're gonna sit in the Z sit. Let's do feet to your right side and then roller to the left side. We'll use the roller as like a little prop for this. Set your hand on the roller, left hand on the roller, and then open your right arm so your palm faces up. And as you inhale, slide over the roller, you're gonna side bend towards it. And then exhale, you'll sit back up. Again, inhale, side bend. And exhale, back up. And here we're trying to minimize the amount of weight that we're dumping into the roller and that left shoulder, supporting our weight with our obliques. Let's go 2 more. 1 more, we're gonna hold this. Inhale to bend. And exhale, rotate towards the roller and then widen your hands so they're about shoulder width. Slide the roller out, stretching through your back body. Again, minimizing weight on the roller. And then inhale, pull it in, lift your chest and get long. Press it out, lengthen the back of the body, pull it in, lengthen the front. Let's do that 2 more times. 1 more. And then press it out kind of halfway where it started. Walk your back hand in. You're going to twist back to the front and then sit all the way up. Let's do the other side. All right. Right hand on roller, left arm is open into your T. Inhale to side bend. And exhale, back up. Again, inhale to bend. And exhale, back up. Minimizing the amount of weight we're dumping into that right side. And just try to let your left hip stay relaxed away from your shoulder. You don't have to shove it into the floor, but you're just trying not to hike it up too much. Let's do 2 more. One more. Hold it here, rotate towards the roller, widening your hands so they're shoulder width, and then press the roller out, stretching through the back of the body. Oof. As you inhale next, pull the roller in and lift your chest, find your long spine. Exhale, press it out, lengthen the back body. Inhale, pull it in, long spine, and exhale, press it out. Let's do that 2 more times. 1 more. Press it out. Set your back hand back where it started, rotating back to the front, and then come all the way upright. All right, let's do a little quad release. So set the roller in front of you. Actually, I'll do it from the side, but it doesn't matter which way you do it. Right in front of your knees. I want to start like right in the middle of the quad. So you're just going to lay yourself down like so, and then set your elbows down. And then start rolling back and forth. Again, I have to take a little sip before my throat gets too dry. Okay, I'm back. Try to center myself a little bit more. So I like to start right in the middle of the quads and then just kind of explore as far as I can with my shoulders staying stable and comfortable here, just pushing with the elbows. Make sure you're keeping your core support, kind of like plank here, so that we're able to let the quads relax just a little more. And you can start to slide the roller closer to your knees and just check things out there. Just stopping shy of the kneecap so you're not rolling over your kneecap. And if nothing too crazy is going on there, you can revisit that center, or you can try the roller a little higher, almost all the way to the top of the thighs. You could even go into your hip creases. I would just say probably don't want to roll over your front hip bones. It doesn't feel awesome. Oh. And then let's try to do a little more on one side at a time. Wherever that roll, like top, middle, or bottom, wherever it felt the most intense, just start there. And you'll shift your weight onto one leg and then just kind of let your other leg flop out like a half frog, a mini frog. And then you'll just roll up and down that side of your thigh with a little more pressure on it. if you really want to go hardcore, you could cross your top leg over your bottom leg. That's pretty intense. Um, I like I like medium intensity rolling, especially since I'm talking at you. I don't want to go really intense and like gasp and lose my breath and cry. Ugh. And I also like to roll a little bit more kind of towards the center or towards the side of the quad. So I'm right now on my left side and I'm focusing more on the lateral quads, that kind of the outside. That's where I feel a little tighter. So that's why I'm twisting right a little bit to get more pressure there. And you're going to take a couple seconds to find a spot that's feeling like it's in need of some TLC. We're going to pin that spot down, and then you'll bend your knee slowly and straighten your knee. You'll bend it slowly and straighten it. And as you're bending your knee, you're using your hamstring to do that so that you are stretching quads out. We're pinning this tight spot down, and then we're also asking our quads to stretch as we do that. So it's a good way to lengthen the muscles. Oof. And sometimes I like to kind of work my way up as I do this. So I'm sliding down, the roller's sliding up my thigh a little. So I get this nice kind of even stretch and release through the quad. All right, let's give everything a little break before we do the other side. You can sit back like this. This is also a nice quad stretch when our knees are bent as much as possible. When your hips are extended, right, like the hips are lifted or the hips are back like this, that adds another layer of intense stretch for quads. I'm just gonna turn around so that I am looking to the camera evenly, like I'm not always looking to the right. If you're not looking head on, that's a good idea too, so that you're not making one side of your neck tighter than the other. All right, moving on to our other leg. So you're gonna shift your weight over onto that leg that wasn't previously done, and then you can externally rotate the other leg so you're rolling a little more weight onto that targeted leg. And then we'll just roll up and down here. Trying to roll through the length of those quads on that side. Just checking things out. Keeping our core supports, keeping our shoulder support. And again, you can kind of roll a little bit more towards the inner thigh on that side. Check things out there. You can roll a little more towards the outside, outer edge of your leg, and check things out there. For me, it's tight on both sides, both inner and more lateral. They're both tight, but we're gonna stick to the side today. And in order to get more weight on that, like the more lateral quads, again, I'm twisting a little bit, so much so that my opposite arm is straight, or not straight, but I don't have my elbow on the floor. And let's take a moment to find that spot that feels like it needs to be pinned down. I was gonna say that we wanna pin down, maybe we don't want to. I know it's not gonna be super comfy, but let's do it. So we'll pin it down, and you're gonna bend your knee and straighten it, bend it, and straighten. And again, we are trying not to drop our knee. As we do this, if you're dropping the knee, usually we're using some other muscles. It's not a big deal, but you're gonna get a better stretch if you keep your leg nice and stable. We can move down a little bit further, right? So the roller's coming up on the thigh, or you can do the opposite depending on where you started for these lovely Lovely stretches. Just keep working your way, or stay where you're at. I found a good spot here. Let's do 4 more. 3 more. 2 and 1. Ooh. All right. Let's set our hips down. And we'll take a quad stretch. We'll slide the roller out of the way. I think your knees and everything are pretty healthy, so I think you'll be okay in this seated position, right? So, like so. And let's put the roller behind us just to have it for optional support. We can always press it out of the way. So you're going to start to lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back. And if this is already feeling uncomfortable in any part of your body, you can hang out with your elbows on the roller like that. Try not to let your knees splay. You want them to stay in this parallel position. If you want more of a stretch, you're just going to keep walking down, walking down, walking down, walking down. Maybe lean like this. So again, try to keep your knees parallel and try not to let your pelvis tilt away from your head too much. So right now I'm using my glutes as well as my abs to kind of tuck a little bit more, and I'm feeling this huge stretch through my quads. Whew. Let's take a couple breaths here. Oof. And then to get out of this, set your elbows down, curl your head up, and then walk your elbows back, then your palms, and then you walk yourself to sit upright. Let's sweep the legs out ahead, and then just give them a little shake out. Okay, we did a really nice quad release. Now let's do a little hamstring release. So you'll have the roller ending in the center of your body. So I've got this, I know I'm in dark clothes, but this edge is here under me. And you're just going to sit on it with the side that's closest to it. You'll have your other leg bent out to the side with your foot on the floor. And if you're feeling okay balancing here, that's great. If you're not, you can set your hands back behind you for a little assistance balancing. But you want to start towards the very top of our hamstrings, not on your sitting bone, but right underneath it. And then you can just do like a little rock forward and back. The more that you keep your torso over that pressure point of where the roller is at, or the more weight you're going to have there, the more intense it'll be. If you lean back a little more, it'll be less intense. So you can modify, adjust to what's comfortable for you. And just like the quads, it's nice to turn our legs different ways so that we're getting different. There's 3 hamstring muscles, really like 3.5, according to some people. So that turning in and out allows you to get the more medial fibers as well as the more lateral. And then you can just roll like this. You'll probably feel like it's doing quite a bit, or you could just turn it where you feel like it needs a little more massage, and then just back and forth like that. I like the turning in and out one. And then we're going to start to slide the roller a little further down our hamstrings and just keep on doing the same thing, rolling in and out. Or staying one way and just kind of scrubbing back and forth like that. Let's take in deep breaths. I know hamstrings can get really tight from sitting for long periods of time. So hopefully this isn't too intense for you. And then slide back a little further. And at this point, you might not be able to keep your weight stacked over your leg. You could always have your hands back behind you like I was doing just now. And then at some point, we just kind of run out of space to be in this position. So you can lean back and do this, right? Back and forth if you want to get lower towards your knee. If this is feeling okay, you can cross your legs over, lift your hips up, and then slide back and forth. Ooh, massaging the back of your leg. And just like the last two, you can turn your leg in a little, getting your more medial hamstring fibers. Whew. You can also turn your leg out a little, getting the more lateral fibers. And you'll go down to maybe a couple of inches above your knee. You'll notice it gets like really tendony there, and it can feel tender, so just stop before you get to that if it does. Oh no, that's a spot. Let's take a deep breath, and let's take a few more moments here wherever you feel like you need that little extra bit of release. All right, let's set hips down, slide the roller over to the other side, shake out your wrists and shoulders, and let's do the other side. So again, you're gonna have it off to that side so that you'll be sitting on it with only one side. And then you wanna sit on it on your hamstring, not on your actual sitting bone. We'll shift your weight forward. And then sit right underneath like the crease of your seat. So it's just below that. And then we're gonna hang out here and you can just do a little shift forward and back if you'd like. Oh, you can try turning your leg in, check out what's going on there. You can try turning your leg out. Oof, check out what's going on there. And then you can also just pin it down and turn your leg in and out. Oh, trying to rotate the thigh bone, but I also, you'll notice I do this kind of roll side to side so that I'm, able to get like a little more of the inside fibers, a little more to the outside fibers. Oh, it's intense here today. And then we can slide back a little bit. So we're moving down the hamstring, and you can, again, just keep doing that little scrub back and forth, or you can turn in and turn out. Again, keeping your weight over your leg is going to give you more leverage, more pressure. Walking your hands back will alleviate that a little bit, quite a bit, if it's feeling too intense. Oh. Again, you can keep doing that little scrubby action back and forth. You can turn it out and do that. You can turn it in and do that. Just going wherever you feel like, oof, it's working some stuff out. Found a pretty good spot. I feel it all the way down to the arch of my foot. It's all connected, so you may be feeling that too if you've got something tight in there. We'll work our way down a little further. And then when we can't go any further, we're gonna sit on back, maybe cross the other leg over. You could keep your foot planted on the floor if that's too much, and we're just gonna slide up and down here with our hips lifted. Oh. And try again playing with the rotation of your leg. If you already kind of know which rotation is getting your tight spots, then just hang out there. And again, you can also pin your spot down here, or a spot, and turn in and out. All of the things are still options here. Oh. And we're keeping our shoulders supporting our body. We're keeping our core supporting our stability. You can get pretty close to your IT band. You can actually get a little bit of IT band here if it's tolerable by turning your leg out. And again, you can go all the way down to like an inch or so above the back of your knee, or just to wherever it still feels comfortable and not painful in those tendons and ligaments there. Take a couple more deep breaths here. All right, let's set our hips down. Again, give your shoulders a little roll out, give your wrists a little shake out. Let's move the roller. Actually, we'll use it under our hips. So we're gonna do a little hamstring as well as a quad and more of a hip flexor stretch. I just real quickly, again, have to have a quick little hydration break. Maybe you do too. Rolling out is detoxifying, so it's good to stay hydrated, flush out the toxins. Okay. So we'll sit with the roller underneath the back of our legs. It's eventually going to go under our hips. This is just how I like to get into it comfortably. Oh, so you want to make sure you've got space to reach your legs straight out in that direction. And then you'll lay back. Oh. And let's lift our hips up. We're going to slide the roller underneath the top of our pelvis, kind of towards the top of the glute flesh, just where you feel like your back is happy, your pelvis and spine are mostly neutral, and it's secure and comfortable underneath your sacrum buttocks area. And then let's bring legs into tabletop one at a time. We're going to straighten both legs to the ceiling and then slowly start to lower your right leg down. When it can't go any further towards the floor, just let it bend so your foot rests on the floor. And from there, straighten your left leg all the way out, and then you'll grab either behind your thigh or maybe behind your calf if it's not rounding your shoulders off the floor. We're keeping our core connected again, so spine and hips stay stable. Just getting a hamstring stretch through left side, your hip flexor stretch on that right side. Let's take one more breath here. And then we'll switch sides. Fold your right leg back into your tabletop position. Any adjustments on the roller if you need. And then we'll straighten both legs back up to the ceiling. Slowly start to lower that left leg. Again, when it can't go any further, just let your knee bend enough to let it rest there. Straighten the right leg out all the way. And then you'll take a little hamstring stretch on that right side. You want to keep your quads firm so that we're keeping that space right behind your knee open and stretching. If your foot is flexed, it gives you a nice calf and Achilles stretch. Oh. Deep breaths. Oh, it's tight. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Oh, bend that leg. Let's set both feet down on the floor, lift the hips up, and then push the roller out towards your feet to get it out from underneath you. And then you can roll to one side, and we'll press up from there. All right, let's do a little quick little IT band. It's so good for us. I went on my first run in like 6 years last week, so want to keep things loose. I'm going to try to keep running with my friend. So you're going to have your roller under the side of your leg. You can have your top foot back behind you, or you could have it in front of you. Your elbow is on the floor, and you can use your other hand on the floor to prop yourself up a little bit. And then you'll just slide up and down. And you can definitely customize how much weight you have on your IT band by pushing more weight into this top foot. Oof. And just keep it at a pressure where it's tolerable. You can breathe through it. You're not holding your breath or clenching tension in the rest of your body. I'm still kind of exploring what that Goldilocks pressure amount is right now. Finding some more tender spots lower down on my IT band. And you just want to stay off of the side of your kneecap as well as your greater trochanter, which lies about here. It's like the flat bone that pops out the most on the side of our hips, just below the hip bones. And then take a couple moments to find a spot that you want to pin down. We're going to bend and straighten the knee there. So I found my spot. You're going to try to keep your thighs still. Just start to bend your knee and then straighten it. And you'll bend it. Try not to push your knee forward here. And then straighten. Let's just do that 2 more times. Bend, straighten, and 1 more time. Bend and straighten. And then just do a couple passes up and down, smoothing things out. And then just take a seat, turning to face your roller. Slide it out from under you. Let's just give our upper body a quick little breath here before we load our other shoulder for the other side. All right, let's do it. Slide the roller over to the other side. Set your arm down on the opposite side of the roller, lift your body up, and then slide the roller underneath that bottom thigh. Again, you can have your top foot on the floor in front of or behind. And then once we're there, we'll start rolling up and down. Trying to roll through as much of the length of our IT bands as we can. Adjust your arms and the roller as needed if your shoulders aren't feeling super stable once you get to some of those end ranges. And you can try again, rolling a little more towards the front of your IT band, turning towards the floor a little bit. Or you can turn towards the ceiling a little more, getting more the back of your IT band. You can also roll forward and back on it, like we were doing with hamstrings and quads. And then again, let's just take a couple moments to find a spot that we'd like to work on just a little more. And we'll pin it down. And then slowly bend your knee. Try not to move your thigh forward or backward in space. And then you'll straighten it back up. And again, we'll bend it. And straighten. And bend it. And straighten. 1 more. And then take a couple of passes, oof, up and down, smoothing things out. All right, let's set the hips down, sit on upright, slide the roller out from there. There's not really an easy way to stretch out IT band. Um, Sometimes this will get a little bit of it. So you're going to sit with your left leg straight out and your right knee bent with your foot somewhere towards your inner thigh. Straighten that left knee out completely. And let's reach both arms straight up to the ceiling. As you exhale, start to hinge forward with a really flat, long spine. And then you're going to grab the outside of your left foot with your right hand. You could do over the sole of your foot or over the top of your foot. You're just going to hold on to it as you stretch your hamstring and twist to your left. You can also try, I call this like sickling your foot in. So you're like kind of turning it in so the pinky edge of your foot lengthens away from your hip. And that usually helps me feel a little more of that stretch through the length of the IT band, running all the way down through calf area as well. Let's take one more breath here. Turn back to the front, hinge back up, and we'll take the other side. So right leg straight out. Inhale, reach both arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, hinge forward, long spine, reaching for your foot with your, what did I do last time? Opposite arm. I'm like, which hand is opposite from the leg? That was really confusing for a moment. You're going to slightly twist towards it. And again, you can try sickling your foot in, making sure that knee is all the way straight is also actually going to help. You want to think of lengthening the pinky edge of your foot away from the top of your like side hip. Let's take one more breath here. Turn back to the center and then hinge to sit back upright. Right, I'm going to check on the time. All right, one last thing. Got like another minute or two. We'll do a little back extension because it's important to do it every day. So laying on our stomach, we'll have the roller out ahead of us with the middle of your forearms on the roller. Your arms are a lot wider than your shoulders, and we've got them externally rotated so thumbs are up and pinkies are down. Then rest your forehead on the floor. And as we inhale, we're going to pick our face up off the floor. Pick up your gaze, pull the roller in as you lift your chest, and then lower it down, nod your chin, forehead goes back on the floor. Again, you'll float your face away from the floor, pick your gaze up, reach the crown of your head to the sky as you pull the roller in, and then you'll lower all the way back down. Let's do that 2 more times. Pick up your face, pick up your gaze, reach the crown of the head to the sky as you pull it in, and then you'll lower. Nod your chin, forehead back down. One last time. Pick up your face, pick up your gaze, reach the crown of the head to the sky, and then lower all the way back down. Rest your head and arms, whatever comfortable position you'd like. With your legs a little wider than your hips, we're just going to twist them side to side, releasing the SI joint. And then set your palms down outside of your shoulders and tuck your toes under as you're going into plank. Press yourself up. And then walk your knees in and just come to a comfortable seated position. Let's roll our shoulders out. And next inhale, sweep both arms up overhead, maybe gazing up. Clasp your palms together and then lower your hands down through center. All right, that's it. Thanks so much for joining.